Tony D and little Joan in the background. Joan is being bad tonight. I don't know why. She might be mad at me because I went out. This is a screenwriter's rant on Pretty Little Liars, original sin, drama, mystery, romance, thriller, TV series. I guess. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 9. I think this show, and I know it's a little early to summarize it now, but it feels like it's trying to do way too much. Way too much on very little. Essentially, it's about a pregnant girl who goes to high school and she's the outcast because everybody dislikes her, and there are mean girls and mean guys, and now she's going to be, I don't know, prom queen or something. And then it turns into some kind of combo slasher movie TV series where there's a mysterious figure who's stalking her, and her mother was killed, and other people were killed, and is it a ghost? Is it a supernatural thing? From the creator of Riverdale and The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, it's another high school supernatural thing. Now here's the let's read this. Let's read this summary. 20 years ago, a series of tragic events ripped Millwood apart. Now, in the present day, a brand new set of little liars finds themselves tormented by an unknown assailant. So, Pretty Little Liars, I guess, did that come out 20 years ago? I don't even remember. The title sounds familiar. So, and it says genre, crime thriller, mystery, teen drama, based on Pretty Little Liars by Sarah Shepard. And then a bunch of other people developed. I mean, it's going to go on HBO Max. Well, it's not the worst thing Warner Brothers ever did. You know, these kinds of shows do okay because it's essentially a TV version of slasher movies. It's a TV version of Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, all those. That's what it is. It's like cleaned up for television, but it's on HBO Max, so it might not be that clean. It might be a little bloodier than regular TV, but not so bloody you go, oh God, I can't let my kid watch this. But really, it's a soap opera with some supernatural elements thrown in. It's a high school soap opera, so it's really for teenage girls mostly, and girls in their 20s, and guys will watch it because there's a lot of hot girls in it. It doesn't look particularly woke or anything, but it looks to capitalize on the ever shrinking crowd of Buffy fans, I guess, to some extent. So Buffy, that's in there too. Riverdale, the Sabrina reboot that was supernatural. And it's based on was there a previous series or movie? I don't know. I don't watch all this crap. I don't mean to call it crap. Maybe it's good. It just looks the same. I'm just bored with it. This is a TV series, so it's really not a point of doing a breakdown, but it's going to be, most of these series turn into an endless tease where you never get any resolution. I was talking about this with a friend of mine who does this kind of stuff, and he was like, one of the things Hollywood discovered many years ago, there was a very popular TV show called The Fugitive, right? Fugitive was a great show. It was on for many years. It was about a guy who, his wife was murdered. He was blamed for the murder, but he knew there was a one-armed man who committed the murder or was involved with it. I think he committed the murder. And he was a doctor, and what he would do is he'd move from town to town, avoiding the cops and sort of blending in under assumed name, and then doing what he could to help that week. So sometimes he'd use his doctor skills, and he wasn't, he was a smart guy, and he was the protagonist, so he would use his skills to help people, but by the end of the episode, he would have to leave town because the cops were like always on his tail, the fugitive. And the show was insanely popular, but they never had a resolution to it, right? So after 10 years, the fans demanded a resolution, so they went ahead and made a 2-hour movie, which, by the way, and this is the old show. I'm not talking about the movie. This is the old TV show. The old TV shows, I watched the final episode. It's pretty freaking fantastic. It's really good and was highly rated at the time. But as my friend pointed out, the problem was no one watched the reruns anymore after they watched that final episode because they knew how it ended. Right? Now, I agree with him to some extent, and Hollywood, I get it. Yeah, there are some people who won't watch it if they already know the ending. But how else could it end? Right? Like, if you haven't seen the ending but know of it and know that, eventually he gets him, are you just going to keep watching episodes where he doesn't get the one-armed man? You know what I mean? Are you just going to watch it endlessly? Or are you going to say, no, it's a bad show? It's like, people know how Breaking Bad generally ends. You may not have seen it, you may have heard about it, but you kind of know generally how it ends. And if you watch the show, there's really only one way it could end, and not well for the main character, I'll say. So I don't really think that's totally true, but that may be the perception in Hollywood. And because of that, I think shows like this one, and most shows in general, never drive towards closure. What they drive towards is continually teasing you with elements that they'll never have to make pay off. And thus, you get TV shows like the aptly named Lost, which in my view is a primo example of this concept of constantly teasing the audience, right? To the point at which they couldn't come up with an ending. They literally had painted themselves into such a crazy corner. And then when people started speculating on the ending, they not only, insisted on subverting expectations even further, they avoided the most logical possible endings, which even the most logical ones, I don't think were very logical, considering the ridiculous scope of the show after a while, which had sort of just swallowed up everything, just for the sake of entertaining you in that moment. Not a way to go, in my view. I think if you look at something like The Lord of the Rings, and I know it's an unfair comparison, but let's say you had a TV show like that, The Lord of the Rings, where it's this epic fantasy thing in hour-long segments, let's say, or half hour or whatever, and then it eventually leads to a huge ending. You could have taken Lord of the Rings and made, a few seasons of a TV show out of it. You could have. You probably could have done that. Maybe done, 3 or 4 seasons. If you had combined it with The Hobbit, you probably could have done 5 to 10 seasons. Maybe not that many, but you could have done quite a few TV shows. And there's an ending to it, and it's epic and it's wonderful. And I think that kind of narrative, sure. This kind of show, I think now, has no ending. Just like Buffy sort of kind of ended, kind of not really. Because they always want to keep that door open. Oh, we can make another Buffy movie, or we can make another this movie, or whatever. So I think there should be an ending to things, because they're never really going to do another Buffy. They're not going to they might bring back the cast for a sort of sad movie where a bunch of older people get together and try to spout off hip 90s dialogue and bring back Josh Whedon to helm it, but will it be great? Probably not. It'll probably just be nostalgia bait, and it's not like having an ending prevents you from doing that. I have an ending for the Pineys, and even that ending, I could probably still do more stories after. Probably could. it's an epic ending, but I probably could still do some stories afterwards because the characters are interesting, you know? Or you could just wind back the time a little bit and do a story that takes place before the ending and one that takes place after and then is sort of resolved after the fact. And you could do that with supernatural stuff. But I think a show like this is what it feels like to me based on the trailer. There's a bunch of elements here. There's like a slasher guy. There are elements of Carrie and, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, here are the bad guys dressed as Smurfs. Ha ha ha. And it's a little bit weird to have a pregnant girl to focus on. You know, what's the deal with that? It seems odd. Seems like a distraction, but okay, she's going to be the hero, the tough whammon, the pregnant girl who, you know, is going to have a baby despite all the odds. I mean, I guess that's a kind of a positive message, except for the fact that she's pregnant in school. I mean, at least she's not aborting the baby. Maybe she will in the series. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just not feeling this one. It doesn't feel like a fun thing. It feels like it's going to be oh so serious. Oh, we got to do something. Yeah, or otherwise this guy's going to kill us. And then, you know, it just goes on and on and on. The guy never kills anybody. And it's just more soap opera bullcrap. I don't like soap opera bullcrap. I like that, you know, I want Game of Thrones. If you're going to make a show like this, make it like Game of Thrones. You know, murder people left and right. Murder the main character. I mean, I don't want to see a pregnant girl murdered, but, you know, murder a couple of main characters and then, you know, keep punching through and see where it goes. But it's kind of hard to do that with a TV show because when you keep murdering the cast, you have to hope that the new cast will be just as liked by the people who watched the old cast. And sometimes that doesn't work out. But it's a risk. I think it's a risk worth taking. It doesn't take place in 1999, by the way. That's a key component for reasons in the plot. You know, I say don't follow the formula of an endless tease. Actually have a plan to end the thing down the road. You know, I get it if a show is popular. Like a show like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that's different. That's a comedy show. Seinfeld, those shows, that's a comedy show. They're not going to end. There's no point for an ending. The whole point was the laughs. This kind of show, it would be cool to have an ending of sorts. It would be cool to see the characters progress. Because it is a narrative based on drama and things that happen. Comedies aren't that way. Comedies are about the comedy. So, anyhow, I know I'm rambling. Pretty Little Liars will be on HBO Max, and also too, there's too many elements here: drama, mystery, romance, thriller. Yeah, it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be a very romantic thing, but I'm sure there'll be elements of romance in it. July 28th. Feels like you're trying too hard to sell me on this HBO Max. So even though I could watch it for free, I'll pass. And that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble. We got a Piney podcast today, and don't forget to check out the live stream that I did. That's where the Hollywoke hot take is, and we'll see you